The broken clock behind the bar flashed 12. AM or PM, I wasn't sure which. I was drinking cheap Scotch because I was working on becoming a cheap drunk. I looked on it as sort of an investment. The devil was tending bar, and no, that is not a metaphor. I sat on a rickety stool at the Fiend's Friend, a bar at the corner of two dark and dirty streets. They didn't have names. The city had a name, but I didn't like to think about it. Population? Me. I didn't like to think about that either, but there it was, and there I was, and so there was no avoiding it. The devil wasn't the Fiend's Friend normal barkeep, but Gulgana was off having her talons sharpened or something. It was taking a really long time, and the devil was filling in. Bartending was sort of a hobby of his, I guess. I didn't mind. He kept the drinks coming. It wasn't his fault I was there. I knew whose fault it was. "Freshen that up for you, Jacob?" he asked, grinning. "Sure thing." I pushed the tumbler forward, and he poured a two-finger measure of the amber liquid into the glass. He had rather thick fingers. I liked that. "What's your punishment?" he asked. I frowned. It had never occurred to me that there was somewhere else I might need to be. There was just the bar as long as I'd been there, at least so far as I could remember. I didn't really want to remember anything else. "I don't know. You think I'll get in more trouble than I already am?" I asked, before I remembered who I was talking to. I looked at the glass, thinking that perhaps the Scotch was more effective than I'd hoped. Or maybe it was just the fumes having their effect. I knew the aroma of good Scotch. This wasn't it. "Nah," he said. "Just making conversation." That sort of made sense. It's not like there was anyone else around. The Fiend's Friend was not a very popular place, which surprised me a little, now that I thought about it. Even a dull bar like this had to be a better place to spend time than any one of the various and painful punishments that were almost certainly happening in the area. This was hell, right? I knew what that meant. "Scotch. Make it a double." There was someone beside me. First there wasn't, then there was. Not that he had just appeared or anything. I guess I just didn't notice him coming in. His voice sounded strange. Not strange as in falsetto or slurred or too loud or anything like that. Just strange. It took me a minute to figure it out. He was me. Of course I should have known that. Who else would he be? The devil served up the Scotch, and the new guy drank it in one gulp. Sensibly done, I thought. This wasn't a sipping Scotch. Best to get it past the taste buds as soon as possible. At least until the taste buds could numb a bit. Leastwise, that's what I always did. So of course I did now. Was doing. Had been doing. "This would be strange, even sober," I said. The other me just stared at his empty glass. The devil didn't say anything at all. He just grinned and poured another before I could ask for it, since of course I was going to. Even if I was, unfortunately, as I understood then, stone cold sober. "Some days," the other me said, "it doesn't pay to sin." "Depends on who's keeping the books," the devil said cheerfully. "So what did you do?" "I bought a glass of tea," the other me said. Me, this particular me, I, that is, just listened. "Doesn't sound like much of a sin," the devil said. "Now if you'd stolen it, well, that still isn't much of one even then, relatively speaking." The other me shook his head. "You'd think so, wouldn't you? Deceptive sin, that one, like a Trojan horse. It held a lot of sins, all hidden. Deceit, hypocrisy, envy, covetousness, maybe even lust. Not sure about that last one, mind, but all the others were definitely there." He turned to me. I should have been more honest. The devil looked at me then, and the real me, or what I thought of as the real me. "Do you know what he's talking about?" "No," I lied. "Sure you do," the other me said, and of course I was right. I wasn't supposed to have the tea. I was on a diet. I would meet my wife for lunch during the workday, eat very healthily in front of her, and then when lunch was over and I'd kissed her goodbye, I'd stop by this little fast food place and get a glass of sweet tea to go. Really sweet, with lots of sugar and lemon. Though I don't suppose the lemon was really a problem. "Not really," the other me said. Well, I said really. We were both me, after all. The devil just grinned. It was his doing, of course. I, me, we knew that. And knowing that, the other me was no longer needed. He finished his drink, my drink, our drink, and he left. The clock flashed 12, unperturbed. Hypocrisy, deceit, gluttony, envy, covetousness, I suppose. Did I leave anything out? I asked. The devil shrugged. Who's counting? Finish your drink. Why, you'll just pour me another. That's right, he said. I finished the scotch. He poured me another. What's your punishment? He asked again. Just making conversation? I asked. The devil only smiled and I shrugged. I don't know. Isn't that your job? Many people think that, he said. I came in again and stepped up to the bar beside me. The devil poured the new me a scotch. Here we go again, I thought. It wasn't the first time. It wasn't even the second, though it seemed that way at the time. Did we both think so? I'm not sure. It was hard to be two places at once. Impossible in what I used to think of as the real world, but here, not impossible, just very confusing. Some days it doesn't pay to sin, I said again. The other me, if that needed to be clear. What did you do? The devil asked. I watched inappropriate, shall we say, videos. My wife went to visit her sister, and I spent the weekend watching Daisy Does Delaware and things like that. How many times? The devil said in his conversational voice. Just once. It was enough, I said. The devil looked at me. The me, this me, not the me that just walked in. Do you know what he's talking about? You know I do. You know everything. Many people think that, he said again. He was getting as bad as me for repetition, though I suppose that tedious repetition was one of hell's specialties. Definitely lust on this one, after all, I said. Liar, said the second me, sipping his scotch. The devil raised an eyebrow. Oh? I sighed. No point in trying to hide. A shame, really. A good local bar was an excellent place to hide back in the living world. Which this was not. This was hell, and there was no place to hide here. Deceit, I said, betrayal. Julie considered any desire for another woman a form of cheating. But you never actually cheated, the devil asked. I sipped my own drink. Depends upon what you mean by the word, as our presidents were fond of saying. I never thought of being attracted to another woman meant anything. I mean, it's not as if I could help that part, so I didn't feel the least bit guilty about it. It's just wiring. Yet Julie felt differently, and for me to actively seek out the image of other women to experience that lust on purpose, Julie would have been devastated if she had found out. I knew that, and yet I did it anyway. In every way that counts, I betrayed her. Testify, brother, said the other me. He seemed quite well lubricated, and his tumbler was empty. I wish my own drinks had that effect, but of course I was still stone sober, and no matter how many times the devil poured, I would stay that way. The other me glanced at his empty glass, sighed, and walked out. What's next? I asked. You thought you were a good man, the devil said. No. Other people thought that, and I let them. Do you want me to count that one too? I'm not counting anything, the devil said. Sure seems like it to me. Many people think that, the devil said. He'd been saying that a lot. How long now? I wasn't sure. There is no Golgana, is there? The other barkeep. I made her and her silly name up, didn't I? I kept thinking that maybe this was just temporary, that she would be back and I could drink in peace. Yet she never existed, did she? It's just you and me, isn't it? Forever. And me, I said, coming into the bar to sit beside me one more time. Some days it doesn't pay to sin. Oh, put a sock in it, I said. What did you do? The devil asked, ignoring me for the moment in favor of pouring a drink for the new me from his infinite supply of bad scotch. One time I didn't listen, the new me said, but I said I did. I lied. Trivial shit, I said. But it was another lie. It wasn't trivial at all. Nothing is trivial at its heart. The devil shrugged. Doesn't matter to me. I'm a good listener. I shook my head. We have to run out of sins sooner or later, I said. Mine was a finite life. My sins were finite. There has to be a last call. Sooner or later we get to closing time. Don't we? Why should we? He asked. A finite life, yes, but will you ever run out of things to beat yourself up about? I have my doubts. But isn't that your job? Many people think that, the devil said, and the other me just smiled and sipped his drink before he walked out like all the other me's that ever were or ever would be, and vanished into the empty streets. The clock flashed 12.